everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing my May monthly makeup kit. I didn't do one for April because I was testing out a bunch of new products and wasn't sticking to anything in particular. I was just seeing how things work together and colors and stuff. But I think for May, I've got an idea of what I want to kind of work with. So here's the janky old cardboard box I got at Pat McGrath order in a long time ago that I store everything in for now. I'm going to go ahead and start with my setting sprays, even though that's the last step, just to kind of get them out of the way. So here is my, let me zoom out a little bit, Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. If you watched my very first one, you can see how much of this I've used since then. I use that every time I do my makeup as the absolute last step. I also have my MAC Fix Plus. This is not the lavender one. This has just been refilled with a regular one. But you can see how much of it I've used. I've really been enjoying incorporating that into my makeup routine. As well as the MAC Fix Plus Matte, which I wanted to try for the days that I'm wearing my like matte, semi-matte foundation, so I don't overhydrate them. That kind of defeats the purpose of wearing the matte foundation, and I really like this so far. You can see how much of it I've used already. It's really great. So I've got a matte foundation in here that I'm going to be using, so I thought I would go ahead and include that. For my primer, I have my Hourglass Vanish Airbrush primer, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in here and use it up. I think you can see how much of it is left, so I might as well use it up, and then I can focus on one of my other primers that I have. And I want to try out, well, not try out, I've already tried it before, but really kind of test and get to know this iconic London Radiance Booster. I have the shade Bronze Glow, so I'm going to go ahead and put this in here too. You know, just try it out a couple times with the different foundations I have in here, see how it meshes with those formulas. As always, the foundations that I'm going to start with are my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I have the shade Macao, and this one is almost gone. It's like down here. It's in my project pan because it's an older bottle and I wanted to get as much use out of it before it starts to, you know, turn, go bad, start acting funny. And then I have been mixing it with a little bit of the shade Moria because this one, especially in the wintertime, pulls a little too orangey red on my skin. I think it's maybe the olive undertone portion of this foundation. So this just puts more yellow in it and makes it a perfect match. But I have been, you know, out and about and getting a little deeper, so I don't have to mix quite as much of this in here. So I think pretty soon I'm going to be able to just wear Macao on its own. But I'm going to go ahead and put those two foundations in here. And then my other foundation I'm going to be putting in here is the NARS Soft Matte Foundation in the shade Macao because, again, now that I've gotten more color, it's more sun out, and my skin's getting darker, Macao isn't going to pull too orange on me either. It's going to be perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. And then I'm going to be putting in my Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Butterscotch. I don't wear a lot of concealer like to highlight my face or under my eye most of the time, but I do use it to like kind of clean up my brows and maybe put a little down on my eyelids for eyeshadow sometimes. So this is just my go-to every day. This is like my second, maybe my third, but I think my second bottle of that. Okay, so now let's maybe move on to some face powders. I've got that foundational stuff down. So I'm going to be putting in my Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I have the darkest one. It's the shade Translucent Deep. I'm not a huge fan of loose powders. I find them to be messy. I don't find that their finish is better than just regular, pressed powders that I've used over the years. But I really really like this one. This is one that I find actually not to be too messy. The way they've constructed it and how the product comes out and how big the surface area of the, top and opening are, it doesn't get too messy. I can put my brush in here, I can swirl it off in here and tap it. It's got a nice little shallow well so the product doesn't just go flying everywhere, and it really does give me a more flawless, almost filtered, buffed out finish. So I don't wear it all the time, but when I'm wearing maybe a lot of bronzer, blush, highlight, all that stuff, and I want it all to mesh together, I'll put that on top. Let's see here. And then I still have my two Charlotte Tilbury pressed powders. I have shade 3 and 4. 4 is in my project pan, so we can do a little project pan update, and you can see it wasn't that much to begin with when I started, but I have been using it almost every single time I do my makeup, and it's definitely wearing away, so I'm just, working on that. And shade 3, not in my project pan, but over the past couple of months, I have hit pan and made a pretty big pan in it. So this is one I use primarily to set under the eye because it's that kind of more brightening tone. And if I'm ever wearing a foundation that's pulling a little too deep, a little too orange on me, then I'll use it to set my whole face because it kind of counteracts that and brings the golden undertones back to my face. And let's see, do I have anything else up for setting? So my Pat McGrath Labs, this writing is all come off, but the, under the setting powder, the under eye setting powder, I have the deepest shade, and I don't know if you can see it, but I have made a huge divot in this. I've been using this quite a bit, and it's a solid powder. I don't know if I would repurchase because I don't necessarily know that I like it better than the other things that I'm using, but it is nice, and it's an easy reach product for me, and I like that. And I think, let's see here, let's start on maybe bronzers. So this is, I think this is in my project pan. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer. I have the shade 3 Tan. This is a cream product, so, they don't last long. It's been open for a while. So I've made an even bigger pan in it. I think this is my favorite bronzer in my collection. This is the one I reach for 99% of the time when I'm doing my makeup. Even if I'm going to wear a powder bronzer on top, this one I like to put down. It's just the perfect, like, neutral, slightly warm color for almost all my foundation shades. So I really like that. And trying a couple of new bronzers that I featured in a recent haul video. Well, I don't even know if it's posted yet, but I filmed it. So the first one is this Hermes Plein Air powder in the shade 05 Colorado. So I'm excited to try this out. It looks in the screen that I'm looking at, it looks very light, but it's a nice rich color. I don't know how it would work on really deep skin, but on my medium deep to deep skin, it shows up. So I'm excited to play with it and see how the formula behaves. And then the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk bronzing powder in the shade 110. I've already worn this a couple of times, and so far I really like it. I love the shimmery glitter particles that are in it. You can see I've already started to wear away at the logo. So I thought, spring going into summer is a good time to start wearing that. Let's move on to, I've got this face palette from Hourglass. This is the Tiger palette from, 2023? Is that when it came out? I think it was 2023. So this is one that I don't reach for too often. I have worn it quite a bit. I really like the highlighter. This finishing powder, which is their deepest shade so far, is too deep for me to use as a finishing powder, but I do like it for a bronzer. This is a nice highlight. I do like this blush shade. This shade right here, this highlighter, is not one that I reach for too often. Sometimes I'll mix it with this highlighter when I'm in the mood for that color story. And that blush is good for if I'm ever looking for a very glowy orange blush, which isn't too often, but I wanted to get some more wears out of it this month. I was contemplating between this one and the one from the 2024 holiday. So maybe this one's from 2022. Yeah, maybe it's from 2022 because I was thinking about putting the Lotus palette from last year in here, but I decided to go with Tiger for now. And another face slash eye palette is the Chanel, what is this called? The Jeu de Lumière palette. This is the one that's like highlighters and eyeshadows mixed together. Really pretty. I haven't used it yet, so I thought this is a good time to finally break it out and give it some wears. Okay, I'm going to start filling in the back here. So let me go in with the first eyeshadow palette that I'm going to be putting in here. This is Juvia's Place, the Warrior 2. This is my favorite one out of the series. There's 3. And mine's pretty beat up. And this is my second one. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty beat up. These 2 shades I reach for all the time. The rest, a little bit when I'm going for a more neutral look down here. But these 2 I reach for all the time, and I've been doing a lot of kind of makeup looks with not a lot of eyeshadow, so that's been perfect to just even out my eyelids. So that's going in. And then I almost forgot about this. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Volume 3 palette. This is going back in or staying in. And I can start to see big divots in here and here where I kind of swipe my brush. I just sweep my brush through all of them and put it on. And I use this most of the time when I'm doing my makeup. I really, really like it to just add kind of a soft, luminous, glow to my bronzer. And then let's move on to eyeshadow palette by Natasha Denona. This was in my, I think I put it in my March video. This is the I Need a Warm palette. I wore this quite a bit. And I'm going to keep it in there because it's one of the easy reaches when I want to do a nude look, an easy look, a soft glam look. It's perfect for that. And as well as that, I'm going to be putting in my bronze palette. This is one of my favorites from her line. I want to blind you guys with the mirror. I wore this so much when I first got it, and I still reach for it, but now that it's, starting to warm up, sun's out, these are like the perfect tones that I like reaching for, so I thought I would go ahead and drop that in here as well. And I'm also going to put in this Natasha Denona Glam Face palette. I have the dark one. There was 2 when they launched. So here is mine. You have this little flap up here, so you have your cream blush and a regular powder highlighter. Love that color, and I love that highlighter. It's a really nice formula. And all of these eyeshadows are great. This is a great palette because I actually use every single thing in it and like every single color in it. So, okay, there we go. Put that in here. Actually, put that in there like that. And then I've got a NARS face palette. This is the NARS Orgasm on the Beach cheek palette. And here are these 6 shades that are in here, and they all work for me. They're all really pretty. I just forget to reach for it. And again, I'm not a huge glowy blush person, I've discovered. So I have to kind of be in the mood for the finish that this gives. But I thought, let's go ahead, put it in here, give it some wears, get some use out of it. And I also decided to put in the NARS, what is this one called? Laguna Ultimate Face Palette 2. So this is the dark one. This one I'm not going to be able to open. Oh, it finally opened for me. I usually have to use a tool. to pry it open. It is the most obnoxious palette I've ever had to try to open. But here is what it looks like on the inside. So you have two bronzers. This is Laguna 6 and this is Laguna 8. This is a great shade for me year round. And then in the summertime, so I think I got it last year. I like to mix these two. The highlighter is gorgeous and those shades all work for me. So it needs to get some more, now it won't open again, use. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Oops. And is this the last face palette? Maybe. The next face palette I have is another Natasha Denona. I'm a fan of her products, obviously. So this is the Tan Bronze and Glow palette. So you have 4 products in here. You have a cream base. I use that as a highlight. And then you have this Super Glow highlighter. Stunning. I love the finish. It's sparkly. And then you can close the flap so you don't get your other powder products into the cream product. This is a blush and bronze powder. So depending on your skin tone, I have used it as a bronzer in the wintertime, but usually I like to reach for this when it's warmer out. And I use this as, yeah, kind of like a bronzer. So just cheeks and bronzing areas, and it's the perfect color. And then here is the Glow Impact Powder, which is also a really nice finish. Very different from this finish, so don't feel like because there's so many highlighters in here, it's redundant. They all give like a different sheen, a different vibe, a different look. I love this palette, another one that I can use everything out of. So we're warming up. It's time to look bronze and glowy, so I'm going to put those in there. My Viseart Neutral Matte palette. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This just stays in because I always end up having to reach for it. It's such a great palette. This is my second one. I like it. It's perfect. It's got all the shades I need in there for, you know, a neutral everyday look. If I'm using something else and like need a black shadow, it's right there for me. So that just kind of stays close at hand. And I'm going to be putting in my Tom Ford Suspicion Quad. So this is well used. You can see it's already worn away a lot of the embossing on top. I love this quad. I like this formula. I think a lot of Tom Ford quads are not necessarily worth the money, but this particular formula, if you like the color story, if you get it on sale, to me is worth it. It'll last you a really long time. So let me go ahead and put that in there. And this is the last eyeshadow palette, the Prada one that I just hauled in the shade, what is this shade again? Primula? It's the darkest one. So I've tested it out once to make sure I liked it right after I got it, and I do. I really like it. I like the colors. I like the formula. So go ahead and put it in the box and get some wears out of it. Let's prop that up, or maybe not. Let's see here. Last powder product. I've got my House Labs blush in the shade Fire Moon. This is my go-to, perfect neutral everyday blush for people that maybe don't like to wear a lot of blush or a lot of colored blush, but you want to get some kind of, you know, rosy definition. Not rosy because the shade itself is not rosy, but just some kind of color and flush on your cheeks. Okay, don't fall over. And then here, my last bronzing product is the Say Dewdrops Bronzer in the shade Stinson. I'm going to wear this while I still can before summer really goes into full swing, and then I'll switch over to the shade Sail. But I love this formula, and having the two colors is nice because right now, even though I've gotten a little bit darker, it's still the Sail. It's not too dark for me, but it's a little too contrasting for my natural makeup days. On the days when I'm going like real bronzing stuff, it's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there. I'm going to be adding my 2 MAC paint pots. I've got Contemplative State. This one is new to my collection. It's perfect because it matches my skin tone. So it's great for a base for my eyeshadow looks. And then I have, this one is an old color. It's not even around anymore. This is Indian Wood. And I actually wore this yesterday. And it's such a pretty, you know, bronze color. I wish they would bring it back because it's great for summer bronzy looks as a base. You can wear it on its own. But I wore this and then the Suspicion Quad on top of it, and it was stunning, and it made these shadows last so much longer without kind of feathering away because I had that base down. And then the last eye product I have, I think so. This is Auric, from Auric, and this is the Smoke Reflect in the shade Defiance. So this is Samantha Ravindal's brand, and I got a couple products from her. Why do I open this out here? Don't be difficult. There we go. So it's a cream shadow on the bottom, and then on the top you have this kind of sparkly topper, which is stunning. And then you twist off the top, take off this protective covering, which you do want to save so the product doesn't dry out, and you have your cream base. And I went with this shade first. I've had it for a while. I wore it once, make sure I liked it, and I do, and I always forget about it. So I'm going to put it in here. So make sure I get use out of it. Let's move on to my mascaras. I finished up the two from my project pan that had been in my box since probably January, I think, when I first started doing it. So I've moved on to my newer ones. So I have the YSL, what is this called? Lash Clash. I got a sample of this with an order a long time ago and really liked it. So when there was a gift set with two of them for $45 and I got it on sale, it was a great deal. So I have this one. I have another one for when I use it up. But I really like that mascara. I'm going to put that in there. And then the MAC Stack has been in my kit, but I had been using up the Pat McGrath one first, and I finally finished that up and have moved on to the MAC Stack one. So putting that back in there. And then I got the mascara primer because Alexa Chan Blake is always talking about how great it is. And I was curious, it was on sale, so I thought, why not? I didn't think I was actually going to like it, but I do. She's right. It does makes the application easier for both my mascaras. It looks better. And mascaras still perform great on their own, but that primer, it is nice. I've tried other lash primers and they didn't do anything, but this one actually is worth it in my opinion. And then let's move on to lip products. So we've got a few here. So let me start with my lip liners. So as always, I'm always going to have the NYX lip liner. They discontinued the lip liner in the shade dark brown, so I just switched to the eyeliner in the shade dark brown. They're really, really, really similar. So I use that. That's a great everyday neutral dark brown shade for me. The Juvia's Place lip liner in the shade, what is this? Cocoa Latte has been great, and what I have recently discovered is that if I put the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Foxy Brown on top of it, it gives me another perfect neutral brown liner that has a completely different undertone than NYX and is perfect for some of my nude lip combos that I want to do, but have a hard time finding just the perfect, like, neutral, warm lip liner for. So mixing those two together, perfect. I need someone to create that lip liner combo for me so I can just have one product for that. The MAC Prep and Prime lip primer, I'm still using that and loving it. And my MAC lip gloss, we can't see how much I've used, but I use this a lot. I think it's like down here. So I love that, and that just stays permanently in the kit. Then I added in my Marc Jacobs, what is this, like Enamored High Shine? What is this? Enamored Hydrating Lip Gloss Stick in the shade So this is one of the ones if you click it up too far, you can't click it back down. But it's just a nice kind of nude shimmery shade. I really love it, and I need to use it up. Unfortunately, it's been discontinued, which is devastating. Maybe that's why I don't reach for it as much. I decided to add in this MAC Velvet Teddy. Everyone's always talking about the shade. They have been for years. I saw it and just did not think it would work for my skin tone. But I realized I had this from one of those, MAC holiday gift sets I had years ago and never tried it out. So I did, just to see if I would like it. And that swatch is not a color I would reach for. It really isn't. It doesn't seem like it would work, but it's gorgeous. I wear it with my NYX lip liner, put this on, a little bit of the MAC lip gloss on top, and it is a perfect pinky nude lipstick for deep skin. I'm glad I tried it because I always assumed that color would look horrendous on me. Let's go here to Pat McGrath lip gloss in the shade Faux Real. This has been in my box and it's going to continue to stay. I love that. That's my favorite Pat McGrath nude gloss color, and it's a great formula, not sticky. It lasts a decent amount of time, and it doesn't make your lips feel dried out or anything. I've got 3 MAC lip glosses. I have the shade Steel Kiss. That's been in there. That's going to stay in there because I have 2 open by accident. This one, which the shade, what is it called? Soft Shell? This is like from their High Noon collection or something a couple years ago. I don't even remember the collection, but I have a couple items from it. And then this is Oh Baby, right? Yeah, this is Oh Baby. It's, going to go well with all my bronzy products for a nice warm sparkly lip. Let's see, I've got 3 more lipsticks. I have the shade Rebel. This has been in the box. This is one of my favorite colorful lipsticks from MAC. Throw that in there. I have been trying to use up my Aaliyah Collab Try Again lipstick just because, I don't want it to go bad. It's such a nice nude matte shade. And then I'm going to be adding in my new Grapefruit Pucker shade. This is a color that I was really nervous about, but I kept staring at, so I finally got it, and I love it. It's fantastic. I have, just a couple more. This Pat McGrath lip balm. It's just clear lip balm, but it's nice to rehydrate a lip look, or if you just want to, I like to wear a nude lip liner, put a clear gloss or balm or something on top, and you get a nice nude glossy lip. Still have the MAC, what is this thing called? The Squirt Plumping Gloss Stick in lower cut. And now that I understand how this product works and that it's basically like a lip gloss that looks solid, but it really isn't, don't click it up too much. Just click up the exact amount you think you're going to need, and then it should be fine. You won't have that issue with it gooping all over your lips. And I like that plumping sensation that it has. The NYX Butter Gloss in Cinnamon Roll, and I'm adding in this Flawless Forget the Filler in the original Rosy Glow shade. This is nice. I like the, plumping sensation that it gives. It's thick, it's hydrating, it lasts a really long time on the lips, and it makes my lips look really good. So I'm going to throw that in there, and that is all the makeup I'm going to be using in the month of May. This might get swapped out for that Lotus palette. I'll play around and kind of see how I feel on that. I like the blushes in the Lotus way better than this one, but I like the kind of highlighting and dark powder shades in here for bronzing and stuff like that a little more. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.